What's up, Tom? Ready? All good?
Your thoughts on the game,
Yep.
Coach?
Of course, just very, very slow start, to say the least. I think that was probably the most disappointing thing about the game. Of course, there's always things within the game that you can do better, but if you start like that against any kind of an opponent, especially Butler, GCU, we started kind of the same way. It's just you have to play. You don't have to play perfect, but you can't play that poorly and then think that you're going to have a chance. And so once they got, I try to tell our guys too, like, and I don't know what coach did, but we won 19 games. You go to the NCAA tournament. The other team's doing a scouting report on you too, and you got to come into play. And so I don't think we gave ourselves a chance within the first 10 minutes in a game like this. You're fighting uphill the whole rest of the way, and then when we shoot as poorly as we did, had some good opportunities. Now you're just digging that hole even deeper. So too much for us to overcome, and that's pretty much where it was at.
It seemed like they couldn't miss for the first 10 minutes of the game. Were you actually satisfied with most of the defensive possessions and they were just hitting shots, or was it a matter of like, no, we weren't executing defensively at all?
We had too many breakdowns, but really I thought our BOB, the baseline out of bounds defense, was atrocious. They're just a simple, easy catch, 1-2 dribbles. Now they're getting into the paint. Easy shots for them and what their strength is. They play very, very well in that 15 to 17-foot area with the strength and size and athleticism, so they're just able to go over the top with nothing really happening. That's on us. But the first two possessions, you have to give up something defensively. And so when Thomas made that first post move, I was like, uh-oh, might be. Because that was what we kind of, if you're going to give up something, that's what you would give up in that scenario. And then hit the first three, and it was like, all right, now you really have to play almost perfect if you're going to keep up with this pace, if they're going to be shooting the ball like that.
Now, after watching 2 games, you played 12 guys tonight. It seems like every guy has a bright moment, has a positive moment at some point in time.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some negative moments mixed in there, but from a competition standpoint, it seems like 1 through 12, you have a lot of competition on your roster. Is that what you see as well?
Yeah, and it's been that way really ever since practice. And then you throw Dylan Branson and B.J. Ward. Obviously, B.J. to play tonight if he could have. Dylan's out for another couple of weeks, but we do have 14 guys. That's the strength. That's the blessing and the curse. Because I'm just trying to find that guy that's going to string more of those couple moments together to get extended minutes. And you're Rob Martin, T.J. Beal, Braxton Stacker, David Idata, Evan Ursher, Gavin Elkamil, Marquez Bell. Those guys haven't played a lot of college basketball minutes, let alone in this type of an environment and in Grand Canyon's environment. So encouraged that they just keep on coming. But again, it's open. It's open. It's come and get it. Come and take it. And that's what we're kind of looking for. But they do compete that way.
I know it was late in a blowout game, but Marquez scored the ball well. What are his strengths, and what do you need to see from him for him to elevate his minutes?
Just what he did tonight is what he does in practice. And so now when he's been able to do, early in the season, Tom, he would have, early in the practice season, he'd have 1 day and then a couple days where'd he go. Then he started to get 2, then he started to get 5. Now he's putting together some weeks, and that's what the progression that you want to see, not just with your team, but to a freshman. He's got that live body, real athleticism. He's not scared of the moment. He's going to get himself in trouble at times, but I love his aggressiveness, his athleticism. He's coachable, coaching family, all that type of stuff. He looks you in the eye, yes, sir, yes, coach, I'll do it. And he's going to continue to get those minutes because he's a good basketball player as well.
Now, this is a second guarantee game for you guys. The other night, it was a 20-point game most of the night. Tonight, 20, 25, 30-point game most of the night. Are you seeing that your guys are still focused and trying to execute and doing everything you want, even when it's a 22-point margin?
Yeah, and I like when I'm watching us play, and of course I'll go back and watch the film tonight on the bus on the way back. But when I go back and watch Grand Canyon, it's not like we're out here just some hodgepodge team. Just we have a couple turnovers here and there, and there's always going to be some bad possessions. But we're running some offense. We're getting to where we need to go. And I don't want it to sound like an excuse, but you're Rob Martin in those moments, in those plays, and hasn't shot it great to this point. Braxton Stacker didn't shoot it well tonight. So I think it's just those game reps. When I watch us play, it's like, okay, well, those guys actually do practice. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're out here just rolling the ball out and trying to hoop. so to speak. We're trying to play some real basketball, and I'm encouraged by that. It's just a lot of guys and a lot of moving parts that haven't been in those positions yet, and that's why a guy like Dylan Branson and your second point guard, B.J. Ward, are so important.
All right. Confidence-wise, are you guys okay? Like, can they put this behind them and realize, hey, Evansville, very good team. They beat Miami of Ohio the other night, I believe. But it's more of our neighborhood, and we're at home. Are your guys confident like that?
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice. You know, you don't have a choice. You better be, otherwise you're at the wrong place. You know what I mean? You're the wrong guy, quite honestly. But I do think our guys do have – we didn't have much pride with the first 10 minutes of the game, defensive pride. But I think our guys have that, and I think they've got some resolve, some grit, some toughness. If our staff didn't have it, we wouldn't have been able to do what we've done to this point within our program. I'm saying now, of course, this season we're 2 games in. So, but yeah, I feel confident they'll bounce back and be resilient and ready to go for the home opener.
Works for me.
Anything else, Coach? All right, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Safe trip back.
Yeah, me too. You're probably staying for a while, aren't you?
Yeah, I live about an hour and a half north of here, so.
All right.
So take care, man.
How you doing? Pretty good.
Good.
I swear to God, I thought I saw you walk by the bench.
Yeah, I did. I work in Cape Girardeau now. I was in Fort Wayne for 10 years.
Yeah.
The newspaper went out of business, and I landed in Cape Girardeau, and been there ever since. This is my 5th season.
You gonna take a dip?
Yeah, that's right. I should.
All right, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach. Then we'll do questions for Bowden and Andre only first. We'll let them go, and then we'll do questions for Coach. So, Thad, a couple thoughts?
Well, we obviously got off to a really fast start, and as I told these guys at halftime, I thought we did a great job moving the basketball to start the game, and then we started holding a little bit too long. Fortunately, they were missing some shots, and we were able to get a good lead at halftime. And second half, we as I told these guys, inconsistency is bad for a team, and we weren't as consistent as we needed to be. And which was good. It allows us to go back and teach tomorrow, and keep building on what we think this team can be.
Questions for Andre or Bowden?
Andre, what do you think led to that fast start? I mean, I know you came in off the bench, but it seemed like you guys had a lot of energy, and especially on the defensive end. Is that kind of what helped you guys get off to that fast start?
Yeah, I think in our pregame speech, the coach was just telling us to be locked in and kind of be focused off the rip. And I think the starters and when I came in and the guys who came off the bench quick, we really honed into that and made sure that we got on top of them and didn't let them out.
Bowden, pretty good minutes tonight, 11 and 6. How did it feel to kind of get into a real rhythm for the first time in college hoops?
It was really exciting. I mean, every time I go in, I'm just trying to work my butt off and work the hardest and impact this team in a positive way. So I'm glad I was able to do that tonight.
And Thad's really complimented your positioning and coming into the year, and then again against Eastern Michigan. How do you kind of take that approach into the game and really finding yourself in the right spots, whether it's Finley driving or someone else kicking to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I really developed that, even throughout the summer. I think just kind of learning from Andre, Jalen, even JM, that's helped me develop my game. I can watch them, see the little tricks that they know, and I can get into open spot and make the right play.
Andre, it gets to be a 25, 30-point game. And you're out there, do you break it down possession by possession and say, this possession, I've got to go and do this and execute this and then move on to the next? How do you mentally stay sharp when it's a 30-point game with 5 minutes to go?
That's a really good question. I think it is possession by possession, just focusing on our principles, our defensive principles, our offensive principles, getting into our flows, getting into ball screens, not letting easy things happen and things just go by us. I think for me, it's just kind of breaking it down play by play, possession by possession. If I mess up, next play. If I do good, remember it, but next play, and just continue that on. I mean, we let the lead slip. I think Coach said it was 36-35 in the second half, so we obviously need to do a better job of that, but that's definitely the mentality, just possession by possession, play by play.
And one more from me. College basketball now, it's a totally bizarre world to guys like Coach and I and our generation. You're bringing in all these different pieces, these personalities from all over the country. How do you build chemistry quickly? Because this is it. This is 1 year with this roster, and you don't have 3 years with this roster to get comfortable with each other.
I think it's on and off the court. Just, we've been here. I've been here since maybe May 12th. I think is the day I got here. Just working and grinding with the staff, getting used to our coaches, but with the guys, just continually playing with each other. We scrimmaged each other maybe about 5 or 6 times, just getting used to playing with each other. And I think that's translated well when we played against the two teams we played against. And off the court, just hanging out with the guys. I think it's important to having fun with your teammates off the court. It helps build camaraderie, chemistry, gets guys talking, you start feeling each other out. So I think we've done a good amount of both. And I think we definitely have more gelling and bonding to do. But, I love these guys on this team, all the personalities. Coach says we're his guys. And, I think he's got his guys. We're one unit, and we're playing for each other and, the name on the jersey, most importantly.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Coach, you have players from 9 states and 3 countries, if you count the United States. The footprint of Butler recruiting, and I write for a paper in Missouri now, and you've got Connor from there. What is the footprint? Is it sea to shining sea and everywhere in between, or what's your thought process on that?
Well, I think what you said, it's changed from when you and I started in this business, and I think the first thing we tried to do when we retooled this roster was the type of kids, and I think the way these two talk is they're Butler kids, and I find myself sometimes at practice looking out there and saying Brazil, L.A., New York City, Montreal, Minnesota, the same thing, Texas, same thing you are, and I don't know if there's anything you can do in terms of trying to have a blueprint anymore in recruiting. It's just so different now. But I think the biggest thing we've got to try to do is get the type of kids in here that appreciate, this as well as I do. This place is different. It's unique. And I love that. That's why I came back into coaching here, because it is different. And so finding that type of group of guys, and like Andre was saying, just listening to them in the locker room, before practice, after team meals, at my house or whatever, it's I'm proud of the way they've come together as a group, because it is such a unique group.
Can you sell Butler basketball in St. Louis and in Kansas City to the MoCan elites and the Bradley Beal elites and those summer programs? Because you've been in this business a while, and so you've been in St. Louis and Kansas City a million times recruiting those summer programs. Can you do that?
I hope so. I think so, and I know this winning helps. And I also think we've got to continue to develop the guys we got, because if you're a young player, you want to see yourself get better. You want to see guys, facts of guys, statistically improving when they're in the program, and that's something we spend a lot of time on with our skill development and trying to get these guys the best we can so we can show them. Now money could win out in the end. It's a different world. Yeah, it's funny. I was just telling the Brad Bill story when I was recruiting Brad to Ohio State the other day.
Oh, okay. And development, you mentioned that. Connor, what has he done to elevate from last year's role to what you expect him to be this year?
Yeah, I think this with Connor. Connor Turnbull's will be a heck of a basketball player here at Butler, and I saw signs of it last year, and it was a little bit unique because he was the only freshman in the locker room. And, it's like watching Finley and Bowden play together tonight, and those two running the pick and roll. And Finley has 5 assists, 4 more prior to Bowden, his roommate. And but Connor has done a good job getting himself in shape, The biggest thing I want with Connor is don't beat yourself up. It's a long game, and if something doesn't go right, I thought the other night against Eastern Michigan, he was okay first half, but had a really good second half, and just getting him to be consistent and because he's got some things we can't teach, and I love that about him.
So you mentioned getting off to a faster start tonight, and obviously Andre talked about the pregame speech. But after a slower start against Eastern Michigan, what was kind of the message throughout the whole week in terms of leading into really being locked in the first 5-10 minutes?
Well, I think first and foremost, as we're early in the season, and we only had one film on these guys, and they're a retooled roster as well. But we wanted to take away the things that they wanted to do, and I thought we did a pretty decent job of that in the first half, and that's something with the scout specific of when we go in on Monday night, I've seen a little bit of East Tennessee State, but like, okay, what are they trying to do? We got to take this away. We got to make them go to option C, option D, option E, and that's just good defense. I'm not reinventing the wheel, John Wooden up here or anything like that, but I want to continue to get better at that. The ball movement offensively, we got stagnant at night, and when we're stagnant, we're not a real good team. And so offensively, we've got to get to where it's flowing better, and we weren't as sharp. 3 guys knew the play, 2 guys didn't know the play, and now they did a good job pressuring our guards, and now we're operating at 27 feet as opposed to 24 feet. Those are things we got to clean up here.
And as you contrast the first half then to the second half, one made field goal in the first 6 minutes of the second half. How do you kind of address that change, and how do you approach remedying a more consistent 40 minutes?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just getting our guys to understand, like, hey, we're not there yet, and you can do that through film. You can do that, and the sign of a good team is a team that can learn. They can learn from winning, and we look at the things that why we only had one field goal in the first 6 minutes or whatever it is, and then take a look at it and say, hey, these are what we got to get better at, and the ball can't stop.
Coach, I know it's only been 2 games and 2 kind of controlled games, but what have you learned about your team so far? Is there anything about them that you didn't know, or just how are you getting to know them?
I don't know. It's funny because you can do this as a coach, but you can kind of predict what's going to happen before it happens, and so I think I got a pretty good feel on them, but not, like the fact that we had some letdowns in the second half like that. I don't like that. I don't like them coming out of a timeout and getting a basket on us. I don't like us not getting back in transition. Us not coming up with rebounds. Like a couple times we had rebounds and we threw the ball away. Those are things we've got to get cleaned up. And like I told the guys, I mean, we come back in here tomorrow. We come in Sunday and we're playing again Monday. We're off Tuesday. Got 2-day prep going to East Lansing. We're off set, and we're in season now. So we got to do a great job as a staff of, honing in on the things that we got to get better at, and then we got to demand that they get better at them. And I think that's the challenge of coaching and the challenge of learning your team. But I do think these guys are a group of guys that want to win, that want to play the right way, and we got to do our job.
It was a tough box score night tonight for Landon Moore, 2 for 6 in the free throw line, 4 turnovers. Struggled a little bit with the pressure. How do you what did you see from him tonight, and then how do you kind of bring that confidence back up for him?
Yeah, I told him at the end of the game, I said, there's a great song by Van Morrison, Mama Said I'd Have Days Like This. And he just, one of those games for him. But I know this about Landon, that kid is working hard, and we are counting on him to play. He was in great spirits after the game, and I think he'll be ready to go on Monday night, that's for sure.
And was that some of just kind of the point differential where you leave more on the bench down the stretch, or just kind of wanting to give Landon that playing time to kind of play out of that?
Well, I think Landon pulled the old Thad Matta where he looked over and knew Posh was coming in for him, so he missed the free throw on purpose so he could stay in. And that's an old trick that I used to do. But no, it was just one of those nights for him, and he's a good free throw shooter. I was happy to see the 3 go down for him, and so.
You said you'd have a better answer a week from now, last Friday. So as you moved into the regular season now, what did you think has kind of carried over the best from the preseason into these first 2 games?
I think that we've shown we can, in spurts, we can play some pretty good basketball. I got to get, what's hard right now is you got one film on these guys. We had no film on Eastern Michigan. And I think one thing I'm interested to see is we get to Kings and Elon of East Tennessee State, how we can deal with the scouting. We've obviously got to do a better job offensively. We didn't know tonight what they were going to do. We ran first couple sets just to see what they were, if they were going to switch, if they weren't going to switch, they're going to go under, they're going to hard hedge, whatever. They'd shown a lot of different things, so we didn't know. And then once we get those things, we got to be able to shift to, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do this well.
We can pick apart positives, negatives, possession by possession through 80 minutes of basketball. But through 80 minutes, you're 2-0 plus 74-point differential. How does that feel?
Great. Great. I know what's coming. So.
But you mentioned scouting. Everybody's got, this is like coaching junior college, where the roster's brand new every single year. Is it difficult to advance scout now?
It is. I mean, I'll be honest, we were showing clips, personnel clips of Southeast Missouri. We had the big kid playing for the Netherlands. We had one kid playing AAU. We had one kid at Murray State. We had one kid from just pulling clips of them and saying, hey, we think this is what we're going to get, the kid from Indiana State, and because we just didn't have enough. But that's, just our margin for error is going to be small, so all the little details are going to be huge for us.
Are those things you address during the game on the fly? Like, hey, this kid, he is a better shooter than we thought. We got to play him this way.
Yeah, I mean, when I walked out for pre-shooting tonight with 60 minutes on the clock, whatever, I saw, I think it was Starks or Stacker made 8 straight threes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure we had him down as a shooter. And so I'm in there before the game saying, hey, this kid did not miss. So, yeah. No, it's still early, but that's what I'm huge on right now, is just making sure we hone in on all the details of the things that we need to do.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Tom, good to see you, man.
Yeah, great seeing you.
All right.
Best of luck this year.
Thank
Glad
you.
to see you back here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You couldn't get the Braxton Skyrim report from Connor?
Well, he knew it. He said he was a driver. Yeah.
I watched him play for the league for 3 years.